Team New Zealand boss Grant Dalton is claiming a highly orchestrated attack on the team's integrity and credibility from people with questionable motives. The team and its events arm, America's Cup Events, has come under the microscope this week following claims it mishandled public money. Central to the allegations made by former event contractors is an alleged fraud involving money being deposited into a Hungarian bank account. Our reporter Nick Trubridge has been looking at the story and joins us in the studio with the latest. Nick, this is getting more and more interesting. So what has Grant Dalton had to say about things today?
Yeah, so Grant Dalton is obviously fairly enraged by what's unfolding. He's calling this a textbook case of intentional reputational damage 101. He says authorities have been looking into these claims, and now that they've been leaked, it's created a kangaroo court where Team New Zealand is the target, and they've become the target before they've had a chance to defend themselves through the proper process, is what he says.
OK, so aside from a statement from Grant Dalton, he hasn't been fronting the media over the past few days. So the team lawyer is the one that's been doing the talking, is it?
That's right. The syndicate's lawyer's been in touch with us today, basically reminding us that this Beatty Varley report that's been commissioned into the claims has been barred from publication. That was commissioned by IMBY following, obviously, the claims being made by the informants. I have spoken, though, to Tom Emin. Now, he's been involved in the America's Cup since about 1980 in various roles. He basically sees an issue with what would appear to be Grant Dalton wearing two caps, where he's responsible, obviously, for the running of the race team, the team that actually goes out on the water and sails the boat. But he's also, it would appear, been front and centre when it comes to dealing with these contractors who were previously working for America's Cup events. So I started by asking Tom Emin what the issue is with wearing those two caps.
Never have I seen that, not only when I ran the event several times, but when anybody else has run the event. You always separate it. Okay, you have a close relationship between the defender and the event, but you always separate the two functions, the event and from the defender. Even New York Yacht Club did that. So I was a bit surprised to see that Mr. Dalton was doing it that way and performing both roles, and I think that's what's gotten him into trouble.
Why is it, in your opinion, so problematic to have your feet in both camps, so to speak?
Well, it's a conflict of interest to serve in both roles, and as we've seen now, it's the appearance of conflict of interest as well, and it's got people in New Zealand and in the America's Cup community saying, well, he's loaning money from allegedly, from ACE into ETNZ, which was not anticipated, was I haven't seen the host venue agreement, but apparently was prohibited. So that was not a good look. And some of the other things that the media down there have alleged in the last 24 to 36 hours, where it looks like there is not a proper separation of church and state, as we would say in the States.
What do you make of his denials? Have you ever seen a team or a host have to vehemently defend their actions as much as this?
Well, I think probably in the past people, as the defender, as the event organizer, have had to defend their actions. I've even had to do that when I was running the event. You get accused of things. So that's why I said on TV this morning on New Zealand television, let's wait to see what this report is that's coming out from the forensic accountants. I mean, this is not your little tax firm. This is a high-level litigation supporting forensic accountant that the Auckland City Council has hired. That raised my eyebrows. And then Mr. Dalton's statements of Monday, Wednesday, and then the one that just came out now on your Friday afternoon, it does seem a little bit like he doth protest too much. I mean, Dalton first came out and said, hey, we got spies. Oh, we've got informants. Well, that wasn't it at all. He's got a couple of people who he fired because they were feeding information, apparently to the Challenger of Record and apparently to the local government and to Wellington. And he didn't like what they were feeding him. Well, let's see what the report is and what really happened with the money going to Hungary and what really happened with the loan, which he's now reclassified as a payment to ETNZ from the event authority, and let's see whether that was permitted under the host venue agreement. What's ironic in all this He's a chartered accountant. Or he was, before he got involved full-time in sailing. He's an accountant. He went to school. Grant Dalton went to school as an accountant. You know, this will be a distraction. If you can imagine, put yourself in the shoes of people who are on the team and they've got to go home and talk to their spouse. They've got to talk to their parents, their kids about what's all this television coverage and what's all this radio coverage about some kind of problem in the Cup. And that's a distraction. But we'll get through it. The event will happen. As you know, the government today said the event will go on because we've one way or another, because we've got too much invested in it. And at the end of the day, it's the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron's event. It's not Mr. Dalton's event. It's not the Emirates Team New Zealand's event. The defender is the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. They're the ones who have to oversee this and be sure that someone puts some buoys in the water and some racing is run come March 6th. The challengers can organize their own selection series leading up to that. And that's what will happen. This thing will get sorted out. And hopefully, and I'm confident there'll be a terrific event in New Zealand come next March, assuming the coronavirus doesn't intervene.
So that's Tom Emmon there, Lisa. Now, actually, the team has just come back to us within the last few minutes, basically saying that the team, the team on the water and the event company have always been linked, that this isn't an anomaly at all. They give the examples of Sir Peter Blake doing it in 2000, Sir Russell Cootes doing it for the last two America's Cups, and Ernesto Baratelli doing it in 2007 in Valencia. So again, they've reiterated that this is, in fact, totally normal for the America's Cup.
Interesting stuff. That is Nick Trubridge, who is across the America's Cup developments for us. We will keep you posted when more comes to hand.